Okay.
Left turn signal.
Good.
Right turn signal.
Good.
Four ways.
Good. Both working.
Brake light.
Good. Both working.
And running lights or clearance lights?
On.
Okay, please come to the front. Left turn.
Working.
Right turn.
Working.
Four way.
Working both.
High and low beam.
On.
And running and clearance lights.
On.
Okay, so we are done with the light operations check. Now the new category is front of vehicle engine area. Let me grab my pointer stick. Okay, I'm gonna start with lenses. I'm not doing those lenses on top because those are for school bus specifically. So I am inspecting the headlights, the turn signals, and running lights or clearance lights overhead, not the big round ones. Okay, so again, I'm inspecting my headlights and the rest of the lenses. I want to make sure that they are all securely mounted, they're not cracked, damaged, or missing, and all of my lenses are the proper color of amber to the front. Headlights are, of course, clear, and they are all clean. Okay, next is going to be fluid levels. Follow me. You can stand there, and I am going to lift the engine area. Right here is where I'll check my engine oil with the dipstick. I'll make sure that it's at an adequate level above the fill mark. This is all I need under the engine area. Step out here. Next is going to be my coolant. Here's my engine coolant. I have a sight glass right here. I want to make sure that it's at an adequate level through the sight glass. If I did not have a sight glass or couldn't see the level, in this case I can see that it's green, then I would remove the cap and check it this way as long as the engine's off and cool for safety. And over here, power steering fluid is right here. I'll check it with the dipstick. It's at an adequate level above the fill mark. Okay, that's my 3 fluids. Where am I at here? So that's fluid levels. Now I'm gonna do fluid and air leaks. So what I'm gonna do is look under to make sure that I don't have any drips of fluid or oil or any fluids under the engine or transmission. If I did, that would probably be coming from an engine hose. So I'll go ahead one more time. I'll have you stand there. I'm looking at all of my fluid engine hoses to make sure that they're all securely mounted, no loose or missing clamps, and none of my hoses are cut, cracked, or leaking. And that's how I would know if I was leaking because of the oil and drips under the engine and transmission. I also want to listen for audible air leaks. Okay. Next on my list is steering system. Follow me. So my steering system is on the driver's side of my bus. We can't see it, it's not visible, but I'm gonna explain how I would inspect that if I could see it. So, steering system. I'm gonna start with my steering gearbox. It's located in this area of the bus. The steering gearbox is securely mounted and it's not leaking. Next is gonna be my hoses on my steering box. I wanna make sure that the hoses and clamps are secure. They're not cracked, cut, damaged, or leaking. And then I wanna inspect my steering linkage, my arms. I wanna make sure that all of my arms, because I know I have 3 of them from the wheel and then the 2 pieces from the gearbox, so 3 pieces. I wanna make sure that they're securely mounted, they're not bent, broken, cracked, or damaged, and the sockets and joints are not loose or worn. And additionally, I want to make sure that there's no loose or missing nuts, bolts, or cotter pins, or cotter keys. That's my steering system. New category, steering axle. First is tires. So I want to inspect my tires. First, I'm going to start with tread depth. I want to make sure that I have a minimum of 4 seconds of tread depth on the steer axle, and I would check that using a tread depth gauge. Let's see. Next, I want to talk about the inflation. I want to make sure that my valve stem is accessible, and I would check the tire pressure with the tire pressure gauge. And of course, the valve stem and the cap, they're secure, they're not damaged or missing, and they're not leaking. Now I'm going to inspect the condition of my tire, the tread and the sidewall. The tread and sidewall have no cuts, cracks, bumps, bulges, and there's no exposed body plies. Next, I'm going to inspect my rim or wheel. I want to make sure that, well, I know that it's securely mounted, but I'll talk about that later because of the lug nuts. So the condition, I want to make sure that it's not cracked, it's not dented, it's not bent, and there's no illegal welds, since I know that you can't legally weld a wheel. I also want to make sure that my wheel has no distorted bolt holes. Now I'm going to talk about my lug nuts, which secures my wheel. I want to make sure that I have no missing lug nuts. They're not cracked or damaged. They're tight. I would know if they were loose by shiny threads or rust trails. And then lastly, I want to make sure that I have no broken studs. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything. Okay, now I'm going to move on to springs, mounts, airbags, and shocks. I have no airbags on the front of this bus, on the steer axle, because that's the category I'm in, is steering axle. I have no airbags here, but I do have springs, mounts, and shocks. So I'm going to talk about those. First, my mounts. My mounts are going to be located in this area, right? Same area that the steering's at. I want to make sure that my mounts are securely mounted. They're not cracked or damaged or worn, and as well as the bushings in those mounts. Next, I'm going to inspect the springs, the leaf springs. They're securely mounted to the mounts, and they're not bent, broken, cracked, damaged. They're not shifted, and they're not missing. Next, I'm going to inspect my shocks. That's shock absorbers. They're going to be right where the wheel's at, behind the wheel there. And I want to make sure that they're simply securely mounted, they're not damaged or leaking. Next, I'm going to inspect my brake lines. Brake hoses in this case, because I have air hoses. So the brake hoses, they're also behind this wheel here. I want to make sure that the hoses and the fittings are secure, and the hoses are not cut, cracked, worn, and they're not leaking. ultimately. Again, I would be listening for audible air leaks. That's how I know if they're leaking. Next is going to be brake contaminants. That would be inside my brake drum on the back side of the wheel. I just can't see it from here. I would be checking for oil or grease, which would affect my braking capability. Next is going to be side of vehicle. That's the category I'm on now. Lenses and reflectors on the side of my vehicle. So I've got a marker light up there, or a clearance light. I've got a reflector there, and then I've got these marker and clearance lights going down the side of my bus. So I'm going to inspect all of them to make sure that they are securely mounted. They're not cracked, broken, damaged, or missing. They're clean, and they're the proper color of amber to the side of my bus. Okay, next is going to be traffic monitoring devices, mirrors. Now, I already inspected the glass when I did my interior. Now I'm just inspecting the mounting hardware. I want to make sure that they're all securely mounted, they're not damaged or missing, and there's no missing hardware. Next is going to be my battery, if visible. Well, my battery is not visible, but I know that my battery is located in here. So I just simply need to state that my door cover for my battery is latched securely. That's it. Fuel tank and def tank. So let's go around to the other side where the fuel tank is at. So due to the bus's age, it does not have a DEF tank. That stands for diesel exhaust fluid for emissions control. We don't have any of that on this unit. So I'm just gonna inspect the fuel tank. So the fuel tank is located here. The fuel tank and the cap. I wanna make sure they're all secure. If we climbed under there, we could see, but we're not gonna do that, especially for the test. But the fuel tank is up underneath the bus. It's secure. It's not dented, cracked, or damaged, and ultimately not leaking. Same with my cap. I want to make sure that my cap is secure, tight, and not leaking. And then my door cover, it's locked right now, so it's latched securely. Okay, next is going to be frames. So I would have to climb under the bus to inspect this. I'm just not going to for the purpose of the test. My frames, that's the longitudinal frames that go down both sides of the bus. I want to make sure that my frames and my cross members are all securely intact and they're not cracked, broken, damaged, or missing. And there's no illegal welds on my frame, because again, you have to be you cannot legally weld a frame just like wheels. And there's no holes, there's no missing nuts or bolts or rivets, and that's everything with my frame and cross members. Next is rear of vehicle, back here. Lenses and reflectors. So again, I'm not inspecting those top ones, that's school bus only. So just these down here, as well as my clearance lights up above there. So I'm inspecting all of my lenses and reflectors to make sure that they are all securely mounted, not cracked, damaged, missing. They are all clean, and we already know that they're working properly. And I want to make sure that they are red to the rear. Okay, give me just a moment to make sure I didn't miss anything. No, I know that I did not miss anything. Everything is checked off my list. That completes a Washington passenger pre-trip inspection.